Welcome to Using Copyright-Friendly Images. This presentation was originally done by librarian Amanda Pape in April 2019 for the Tarleton Library's Copyright Task Force. For recording purposes, it has been divided into 3 shorter segments. This is Part 3, Creative Commons Attributions. Please keep in mind that this is not legal advice. The main objective of our task force is to help the Tarleton community navigate through their copyright questions and provide best practices. Creative Commons was explained in Part 1 of this presentation. What is Creative Commons? Here is a summary of the 4 possible components of Creative Commons licenses: attribution, non-commercial, no derivatives, and share alike. And here is a summary of the 6 licenses that can be made with combinations of those 4 components. Creative Commons also has no rights reserved and public domain designations. Note that all of the Creative Commons licenses included the attribution component. So what is the correct way to attribute? Note the attribution at the bottom of this image. You may have noticed that nearly all of the images in this presentation have attributions on the same page. That is because they are Creative Commons licensed works. All Creative Commons licenses require attribution. Credit the author, license, and/or other parties, such as a wiki or journal, in the manner they specify, if they do specify. Sometimes you can find the preferred attribution with the image or on a profile page. However, if no specific attribution method is given, then you will need to do the following. According to Creative Commons, you need to, first, keep intact any existing copyright notices for the work. Second, cite the work's title or name if there is one. Some works are untitled. Link the name or title directly to the original work, or provide the URL to the source. Third, cite the author's name, screen name, or user identification. It is nice to link to or provide the URL to the person's profile page if such a page exists. Fourth, cite the specific Creative Commons license the work is under, and link to or provide the URL for the specific license. Finally, if you are making a derivative work, you also need to identify that your work is an adaptation. For example, modified from title of the original work, by original author, from source URL, comma, Creative Commons license, and the link or URL. In summary, credit the title, the artist, the source, and the license, and provide the URL or link to each of these. There's a mnemonic to remember these: TASL, or tassel. It's usually best to put the attribution as close to the image as possible. However, sometimes doing so can distract from the presentation or the post or publication. So putting the attributions within picture credits at the end of an article or book, or in the opening or final credits of a video, may be more appropriate. Also, you don't have to make the links live if it's not online. Note the 2 ways the attribution is done on this slide, one with live links and the other with URLs spelled out. It's not too difficult to construct an attribution, but there are also websites available that can help you do this. 4 of these are the Creative Commons search site, Open Attribution Builder, Image Coder, which can only be used with Flickr, and Attribution Generator, which can only be used with Wikimedia Commons. Using Creative Commons search was discussed in Part 2 of this presentation. When you find an image you like, there is an image attribution already prepared for you that you can copy in your choice of rich text or HTML formats. This is an example image found using the Flickr Advanced Search for Creative Commons licensed images, discussed in Part 2. It will be used to demonstrate one of the attribution tools available online, Image Coder. Image Coder only works with Flickr images and is best for cases where you need HTML code to paste into another web page. Another advantage is that it includes a bookmarklet you can drop into your browser toolbar. You can also paste the URL for the Flickr image you want to use in the search box on this page, then click Get Code. The results page includes a summary of the Creative Commons license of the image and an area where you can select the size of the image you want the code to produce. The HTML code in the box includes both the image and the attribution, the latter having live links. At the bottom of the page is a preview of what the image and attribution will look like on the web. Here is the completed image with attribution, as it appears in the composition window for a Blogger post. This is an example image found using the Wikimedia search for Creative Commons licensed images, discussed in Part 2. It will be used to demonstrate another of the attribution tools available online, Attribution Generator. Attribution Generator is a tool that can only be used with Wikimedia Commons images or Wikipedia articles. To use it, paste the URL of the image in the search box and click Let's Go. Depending on the Creative Commons license associated with the particular image, the web page steps you through a number of questions about the type of use you plan. So whether it's online or not online, whether or not the image will be used alone or in combination with others, and whether or not you plan to adapt the image, assuming the original image does not have the no derivatives component in the license. For adaptations, you are asked to briefly describe your modification. In this example, the image was cropped, how you want the modification to be attributed, and it's okay not to do so, and what type of license you want to use for the modified image. After you answer the last question, the license notice appears. It is provided in text, plain text, and HTML formats, which you can copy and paste as needed. This is an example image found using a Google image search for Creative Commons licensed images, discussed in Part 2. It will be used to demonstrate the last attribution tool available online, Open Attribution Builder. Open Attribution Builder is not as automated as some of the other tools, but can be used for Creative Commons or public domain images found at any source to generate a Creative Commons formatted attribution. Fill in the title of the work and its URL, the author with a link to the author's homepage or profile page, and choose the correct license. An attribution is generated in both a text format with live links and in HTML. Here is the image with its attribution. The attribution has been tweaked a little to include the information that this is a U.S. government work. You can always add additional information to an attribution, as long as you include the tassel components, title, author, source, and license. Note that even though images in the public domain don't require an attribution, it's always a good idea to cite your sources. The credits section is also an example of Creative Commons attributions done at the end of a presentation, post, or publication. The resources section includes links to additional information about Creative Commons attributions. Thank you for listening. If you have any questions about this presentation or copyright in general, please email the Copyright Task Force at mylibrary@tarleton.edu.